welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about how I knew I was going to go into business and then how I knew I was going to go into accounting. I see all of your comments and some of you guys are thinking about accounting or you're thinking about transitioning from a different major to accounting. So I hope this video is helpful for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to hit subscribe. So let's just get started. Let's talk about the classes that you take in high school. The first thing that I did was a process of elimination. So there are a lot of things that I experimented with, but I took a mental note and really figured out, okay, this definitely isn't for me. History is not for me. Music is not for me because, I'm a little tone deaf. So after eliminating a few classes, I took one class that really changed my perspective. It was macroeconomics, which is basically seeing the bigger picture of the economy. And I was just so fascinated, and I actually really understood it too, and all the graphs that they were showing me, and it was just like clicking. I want to learn more. But unfortunately, there weren't many business classes in my high school. So what I did was I took the class, I really enjoyed it, and then I had to move on to other classes. But I still remember that one class did leave a great impression in my mind. So if you have any type of business classes in your high school, I would highly recommend taking it. Once I arrived in college, I then was undecided, which basically meant that I had no major for the first 2 years of college. And I was thinking about all of the majors and business just stood out to me. So I applied to the business school my junior year. So if you feel like it's too late for you, don't feel like that. I honestly had no idea what I was doing for 2 years in college. Once I chose business, I then had to choose a major within business, and they have a bunch of business courses. Really try to take a good look at the intro classes because they are really helpful to deciding whether or not this is something that would interest you. I took intro to finance, computer science, supply chain, and the one that stood out to me the most was accounting. Even though some people might think it's a little dry, for me, it just made so much sense. Just to let you know, I'm not good at math. The first calculus class I took, I'm pretty sure I got like a 30 in college. So trust me, I'm terrible at math. I still use my fingers to count. It's kind of embarrassing, but true. In order to major in accounting in the college that I went to, you needed to get a B or higher in order to major in it. So I studied my butt off, and then I realized that this was something that I can see doing in the future. I also applied to a bunch of scholarships that are for accountants, and I won 2 of them. And it was just great to see how a lot of accountants and CPA are willing to invest in students at the time, and that helped me pay for some of my schooling as well. If you haven't really decided on what you want to do, but you are interested in accounting, I would maybe do a double major in accounting and data analytics. I feel like that is a really great combination. Someone in the comment section in my previous video asked about that. It's also great to have the data analytics skills and also some type of technology background to kind of put yourself a little bit ahead of everyone else. There's this Journal of Accountancy that I get in the mail, and if you're part of AICPA, you get these about every month, and there's an article in here about evolving the CPA license model, and I'm just gonna read it to you. So it says the profession must be redesigned to attract individuals with technological and analytical expertise. This includes non-CPA professionals whose technology and analytical skills are critical to performance of assurance and other core services, as well as non-accounting major students. So basically, that could mean you don't always have to major in accounting to go into the accounting field. And secondly, if you do want to major in accounting, it would be great if you can also back it up and have some analytical classes or data analytic major if there is one provided by your college. And the last thing that I want to talk about is internships. So when I was in high school, I interned at a hospital where I was under the cardiovascular department as a nurse intern. I guess. So when I went there, it wasn't what I expected, and I actually realized that medical field was probably not for me. So then after that, I interned at a bunch of places where I would tutor people, and although I love teaching, I didn't really see it as a profession that I would want to go into full time, but I still do teach on Sundays, so I still get a little bit of teaching in my life. So when I got into business, I interned at accounting departments of different stores, and so I really enjoyed that aspect of it, but I also wanted to go into public accounting, and that is the direction that I went to. Those internships as an accountant, as a nurse, as a tutor, all of those things were great experiences. Instead of just being at home for 8 hours a day during the summer, take that time to really figure out what you want to do. And if you're in college, when you have spring break or when you have these co-ops that really offer you different opportunities, I would highly suggest you take every single opportunity you can. There are so many free resources out there. There are advice videos on different majors on YouTube. There are a lot of course materials online, so you can access those too. So don't feel like you have to spend money in order to figure out whether you'll like something or not. See what your interests and passions are. I think that's really important, to have an open mind, and then from there start eliminating things that you definitely know you can't see yourself in the future in that field, and then after that narrow it down, then have some internships that will really help you see what it's like to be there physically in the building or in that field, and then finalize it that way. Another thing is, don't feel like if you decided on the major that you're stuck by that major and that's all you can do. But actually, when you go into the real world, I've seen a lot of people transition to different industries. So I know someone that started off in tax, so he majored in accounting and supply chain, and then moved into fashion. So now he is a buyer at a huge retailer. And there are a lot of people that switched from, accounting to supply chain, and there are people that worked in banks and went into accounting. Also someone who was a pilot at one point and then switched to accounting. So there are a lot of ways where you can switch. So even though you picked a major and you graduated already and now you're thinking about a different industry, it's possible. Yes, it may be a little bit more difficult because you don't have so much of the formal education, but there's a lot of on-the-job learning that you do in the real world, so don't worry about that so much. And that concludes this video. That's basically my journey of how I went from high school, not knowing what to do, going to college, and basically being undecided for 2 years, and then finally finding what I really enjoyed, which was business, and then later accounting. If you want to see more of these videos, make sure you hit subscribe and the notification bell as well. That tells you when I post more content like this. If you have any comments and questions, leave it down below. I try to respond to all of them. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!